been in the program since November 2005. She's been she was the first chair of her intergroup. She was, of course, a delegate. She was elected to the World Service Board, and she was the chair of the board. She was Madam Chair just before I was, and has been such an enormous help to me. And it's been just such a pleasure to know her. She gave me a quote, which I think I'll copy from her, steal it. What she said is, her favorite motto is, I never have to deal with compulsive eating again, but I have to deal with life every day. And that's a great thing to know. And let's welcome a terrific speaker, Madam Chair, the lady in red, Lorraine.
Hi, I'm Lorraine, compulsive eater.
Hi, Lorraine.
That is not an original quote. It came from either Dr. Bob or Bill W. It's something I got out of the literature somewhere. I couldn't find who it was, so I couldn't attribute it to the correct person, but I promise you it was not me. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. I love the faces of recovery. You guys are beautiful. You're absolutely beautiful. I do have to let you know one thing. I did not have a lot of problem giving up the food or being defiant with my original sponsor with the food. What I had problem was admitting I was a compulsive eater. I didn't know what I was. I just knew that I wasn't happy. And I knew that no matter what I tried and no matter how much weight I lost, I would gain it back plus more, I hated to go shopping, and I ended up getting the most fabulous jewelry and earrings you can possibly buy. It doesn't matter what size your earrings are. So that's what I did. I wore these big old tent clothes, but I had the best jewelry on the planet. I didn't like saying I was a compulsive eater. I didn't mind introducing myself. I'll talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime. But I didn't like saying I was a compulsive eater. And then when I started hearing people say a grateful compulsive eater, I said, you've got to be kidding. How can I be grateful having this problem? Well, today I can tell you I truly am grateful that I'm a compulsive eater. It is a disease that my higher power has helped me learn to control. It is something that I was able to stop and have a better life right away. With all of the things that happen out there and all the things that could be, compulsive eating is something I can deal with because my higher power says I can. Even on the mornings when I wake up and I'm not so sure, God's right there, and I need nothing else. But I do need my sponsor. I need my sponsees. I need my outreach calls. I need my meetings. I need everything in the program it tells me that I need. And I'm so glad that I've got that reminder. I talk to my sponsor before I almost do anything else during the day, so I've got that. I've got that going for me. My sponsees call me right after that. So I have got the solid part of my program before I even get out of the house in the morning. And for me, that's wonderful. That's the best thing that I can think of. The cool thing about this program is, and the reason I'm really grateful now is, I forgot my pictures. I brought them. I looked all over the house. I have them in my suitcase up in those things. I've been in the program since November of 2005. I have had back-to-back abstinence since June 22nd, 2008. And I've gone from a size 2XL to a size 4. So the program works, boys and girls. When I was asked to do the particular promise that I'm doing tonight, when Laretha called, she had told me which promise it was, and so I looked at it and I thought, boy, that's a promise, really? We have 12 steps. We have 12 traditions. We have our 7 tools, and everything's numbered. And I thought we had 12 promises or so, And so she says, no, we actually have 150. And that blew me away. So I started looking through all my books, and I wanted to see where all those were. And, you know, God bless somebody. They're in our packet. I don't have to look anymore. It was almost like a scavenger hunt, you know? And I don't have to do that anymore. As I was also looking through this, I want to tell you what the kind of person that I was before program, and I do not want to offend anyone. So if I do, I make my amends and apologies right now. A friend who knew me pretty well, that I worked with, he found something, and he brought it to me, and he says, "This just reminds me of you." And this is way before program. I knew nothing about 12 steps. My first introduction to a 12-step program was when I walked into the Cea-How rooms in November. I knew about the big book. I knew about 8A. And I knew it was a program, and I respected it, but I had no experience with it. So a 12-step program for me was, when I came into my meeting, I was as open-minded as you could be because I was ignorant. And it was wonderful. That's what my higher power knew I needed. I didn't go in with any kind of prejudice, good or bad, at all. And so I walked in, this guy that I used to work with, I'm a teacher, and I was in a school. I wasn't teaching at the time. I was working I was the computer technologist there, and he was a teacher, and he came in, and I didn't realize what kind of personality I had. People used to call me Auntie May, So I thought, well, that's pretty good. Well, he gave me this quote, and like I said, please do not be offended in any way. He gave me one of the takeoffs of our beautiful, wonderful serenity prayer. And this is what he said reminded him of me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I cannot accept, and the wisdom to hide the bodies of the people that I killed today who pissed me off. Enter that Lorraine into the rooms of Cea-How, Everything in our book slowly introduces us to humility. And when I went into the room, I didn't have that kind of humility. I had the humility of being ashamed, misery, looking for answers. And what I got was 22 happy people, all in a big circle in that room, every size and shape you can think of. I mean, there were people that had been a couple of years of abstinence, and they were on their maintenance to brand new people like myself. We even had a couple of younger people there that were like college age, and then there were some more mature people, as we like to call ourselves now. And that was the last time I truly remember having that kind of humility where I felt like I was ashamed and I didn't know what to do. The rest of the program and the people who just put their arms around me and loved me to death showed me what humility can be, and that's how I felt. It's been 9 years of my back-to-back abstinence, and it feels like it was just yesterday as far as how grateful I am every day, and it feels like I've been doing it all my life now. When I was doing research for this, everything that I came across kept making a reference to As Bill Sees It on page 226. And I want to read it to you because it's interwoven in what I believe is the promise that I'm speaking about today. It's called Humility for the Fellowship Too. We of AA sometimes brag of the virtues of our fellowship. Let us remember that a few of these are actually earned virtues. We were forced into them to begin with by the cruel lash of alcoholism. We finally adopted them not because we wished to, but because we had to. Then, as time confirmed the seeming rightness of our basic principles, we began to conform because it was the right thing to do. Some of us, notably myself, conformed even then with reluctance. But at last we came to the point where we stood willing to conform gladly to the principles which experience under the grace of God had taught us. And I love this one, and I love the one where it says we finally adopted them, not because we wished to, but because we had to. And that's where I was at. I did want to after I learned them, but it's also because I had to stay alive. I had to have a better life and the people around me to have a better life because I was hurting them. You know, I was making them misery. I had no idea because I was too busy being right. And so I didn't realize what I was doing to other people. The promise that we have, I think I've got it here. It's on the program if I don't have it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. If that degree of humility could enable us to find the grace by which such a deadly obsession could be banished, then there must be hope of the same result respecting any other problem that we could possibly have. And my story kind of is interwoven that way. I'm going to just give you a really brief thing. There's a couple of things in there that are going to be hard to hear, but God is good. God is always good. When I was brand new in the program, two friends of mine and myself joined on November 5th, 2005. My son was in Iraq at the time. So my daughter-in-law, my 3 grandchildren, we went to Oklahoma, which is where she's from, and we spent Thanksgiving with her family. And I was not worried. I was so brand new to the program. I just knew it was going to work, right? You know. So we go to the house, and I got my weighing and my measuring, and everything's great. And for 4 days, everything worked out really well. We left Colorado, and Colorado's like any other state. You know, stick around for 5 minutes, and the weather changes. When we left Colorado, it was gorgeous. We were in short sleeves and shorts, and we drive through Oklahoma. Same thing. Oklahoma's gorgeous. You know, we're there for 4 days. Well, we come back on Sunday. We leave a little late. Between the time we left at 10 o'clock Sunday morning and got to Goodland, Kansas, it was such a tremendous blizzard that they had to close the highway. And I knew it was getting really ugly about an hour before then, and so I was mentally thinking, okay, we're going to have to stop because, you know, life is too precious to do this. And so I'm mentally thinking, you know, being from Colorado in the winter, I have the blanket and the shoes and the shovel and, you know, water in the car. I know what to do. So I had that in this rental car anyway, and we also had a cooler for food. Well, of course, the only food left was, you know, grandchildren food. Had nothing to do with what I could do. So we stopped at a Walmart, and I'm thinking, okay, I am going to get certain things for the grandkids in case something happens, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I better take care of myself too. And I'm only in this program 3 weeks, okay? So I got cheese sticks, the big vegetable bags, you know, and carrots, and maybe raisins and milk. And then, of course, I got junk, you know, for the grandkids. Well, we got stopped in Goodland. We couldn't go any further. All of the hotels were completely full. I mean, they even had people in the dining rooms, you know, and they turned us away kind of, not really, but they did, you know. It turned out where we ended up spending 3 days and 2 nights in the National Guard Armory. And we're talking huge blizzard conditions and wind and everything, you know. And we're sleeping in floors, and I had a blow-up mattress that I had taken to Oklahoma for the grandkids, but there was no electricity. So the blow-up mattress meant nothing. So we slept in chairs. Well, it wasn't the Red Cross, but somebody came in to feed these multitudes of people that were there. And, of course, there wasn't one thing that I could have. But I was prepared. You know, my higher power told me to be prepared. So for 7 meals, count them, 7 meals, and I was brand new, so there wasn't that much food I could have anyway, you know. 7 meals. I had cheese sticks, carrot sticks, and milk with coffee. But I did it. And you know what? Just like this says here, I did it maybe reluctantly, but I did it. I was ignorant and innocent enough to think maybe it would work, and it did, you know. So from, you know, going back to this one where he says we did, first of all, we were forced to do it, and then we just adopted it because we had to. That's what I did, you know. So I go through the program, and I do it just like everybody else does, you know, and I had about maybe 4 or 5 sponsors. I'm not that hard to work with. but it's what it was. My first sponsor, she did not want to sponsor me over the long term, but she knew I was desperate, so she was kind enough and she got me started. Then I found another sponsor and then a third sponsor, and they were wonderful for where I was in the program. You know, it's amazing. When you look for people that have what you want, they're there when you need them, and when it's ready for one of you to move on, our program gives us such a beautiful way to move on, you know. And unfortunately, my first three sponsors, as far as I know, they are not practicing in our program right now. And again, it's not me. But then I got two other sponsors. But, you know, when I did my inventory, the sponsor that I had for my inventory was just the perfect person for me to give my inventory away to and to take care of business, you know. And then the next sponsors that I had, they were right there where I needed them. I had another sponsor that shares the faith that I have, and we were able to really connect on a very special personal level with our faith, and you know, we grew in the program. And then I had to move away from that. And then the next sponsor, my sponsor that I have now, is someone that is really helping me grow in my very personal spiritual life, which is where I need it, you know. And when I sponsor my sponsees, I always hope that I can do the same for them. And sometimes I don't feel like I am sponsoring them at all. I feel like that they are sponsoring me, you know. It's such a mutual relationship. It's such a special relationship. And I do take it very seriously. And I think that it's one of the greatest services we can give each other. 3 of my sponsors that I had didn't have time. They gave it to me out of the love and the service, you know. If I looked at my calendar and say, I don't have time to take on another sponsee, I start to feel really selfish because there was always someone there for me. Always someone was there for me, and I need to be there for other people. We need to pass it on. The other thing that has from this, where it says that if we can get through this deadly obsession, then the same result with any other problem that we have is going to come through. My husband, about 1991, my husband was diagnosed with a degenerative nerve disease, and we knew it was probably coming. It turned out that 3 of the 5 kids in his family got this disease, and it's an ugly one, you know. It's not multiple sclerosis and it's not muscular dystrophy, but it's in that category. And he had a nervous breakdown about it because he was a real workaholic and he couldn't do it anymore. And he had a nervous breakdown, and we had a big life change, you know. When I was in the program, as I was working my steps and as I was doing things, what came out was that I had a resentment of his illness, and which is ironic because I'm a special education teacher. I work with children who have all kinds of things going on, and I know it's not their fault, and I can work with them, but I didn't want to go home to do that, and so I had this resentment going on. And as I was being resentful, and as we were losing our communication, I was gaining weight. I mean, that was my comfort right there, you know. And so the program helped me to see that, and I was able to get some other help with that too. But as it got really bad for him, I was growing enough in the program that I didn't need to use the food. You know, I did not need to use the food to take care of my resentment or my pain in any way anymore. And I was able to be better for him. I was able to do more for us because I had a clear head and a clean heart. You know, I think the making amends that we give was probably the best gift I could give to my husband. And I don't know if he understood why I was doing it, but he understood how I gave it to him. And it was one of the best things that we could do. Another thing that had happened in the middle of all of my learning and with the program, my daughter had gotten married, and she was married for 5 years. She came home one day and found her husband who had completed suicide. And this was a huge shock. You know, it was out of the blue. No one expected it. Again, this is where program came through and my higher power came through for me. I was able to be there and be strong for my daughter and for his parents. After we took care of what we had to take care of that night, and I took her to the hospital, she knew what she needed. She says, Mom, I've got to go to the emergency room. We've got to do something. So we did that, and they gave her a prescription. When I took her back to the hotel room, I went to go get her prescription filled, and I'm thinking I need to take care of some stuff. So I went to the grocery store. I got some things that I needed, that I knew that she would need, and I got enough of my food for the next 24 hours. And some people may have thought that that would have been self-centered or selfish of me, and I didn't think that for even a minute. This is what I needed to do, to be there for my daughter and to take care of business. I had to take care of me as well. And, you know, it's basic stuff, same thing, cheese sticks, carrot sticks, you know, all the wonderful fun things that you can put in your purse. But God got me through it. My sponsor got me through it. The fellowship got me through it. If it wasn't for the people from, especially my home meeting, it would have been very difficult because my husband was not able to be there for me as much as you would want because he was ill. And we were just grateful that he was able to be there for the memorial service. He was in a wheelchair at the time. And I was able to get this. I was able to be strong, and I was able to keep with my program. And it's just like this last promise that I'm doing tonight. If God can get me through something like my food obsession, as long as I hand it over, I'm going to get through whatever God gives me. And that's what I truly, truly believe with my whole heart and soul. And then when my husband did pass away, it was the same thing. And this is another thing where the program was so wonderful. I was able to make amends again for the things that we needed to. And it was almost like I got a do-overs. You know, you always think you wish you had time to do a do-overs. I got that opportunity. I got to have that opportunity with my husband. And so when he passed, it was okay, you know. And again, someone that was in the program at the time belonged to the church that we go to. You know, I was struggling. I was thinking, how am I going to do this? Because after the service, you know, we always, the church also provides the lunch, you know. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? A lot of the times it's not abstinent food, and I wasn't worried about not eating or eating. I mean, that's fine. I could get away with it and go home and do it later if I needed to. But this one person was part of our fellowship, and she came over to me and she said, Lorraine, I need you to sit down. I have taken care of your lunch for you. And she brought me out my weighed and measured food. That's what the fellowship does. And, you know, that's service. You know, that was the most beautiful service. I will never, ever forget that act of love that she gave for me that day. I'll never forget it. And it's kind of fun, too. We have since found out that we share birthdays. We have the same birthday. And so we're able to still stay connected no matter what. We send each other our birthday cards, you know. And so that's just, you know, something special. But, you know, I'm standing here today with a lot of humility in the way the program wants us to have humility. You know, I'm very grateful for the people that have been in my life. I'm grateful that I can be someone in their life and be of service to other people. And all of step 7 and into step 8, you know, the key words are hope, humility, and grace. And I feel like the last 12 years that I've had in this program have been so full of hope, humility, and grace. It's just been amazing to me. I know I'm a better person. I know I'm a stronger person. And if someone were to give me the serenity prayer today, I pray that it's the one that we say every day now. And I want to be known as a kind person. I don't want to be known as the kind that throws the bodies under the carpet anymore. But that's the hard parts of what I have experienced through program. But it has really gotten me to where I am today, and I'm grateful for that. As far as the service goes, after my first couple of meetings and they started talking about service, I thought, oh, damn, do I really want to join another club? Do I really want to do service? So, I did the quick and easy things that you're allowed to do before you have any abstinence under your belt, much to speak of. I was the timer, I set up the chairs, I did all that, And the thing is, it went on, I did the secretary in the meetings, and then, I did the treasurer, and so on and so forth. And we finally got big enough where we could do an intergroup. They had been practicing it a long time. We were saving our seventh tradition money, setting it aside so that we could, someday be an intergroup, and that we could make the donation and start the seventh tradition stuff. And I don't know, I haven't really mentioned this to you, even though I was kind of pushy and always right, of course. I really am kind of shy in a way, and I don't think I never gave myself enough of an idea on whether if I could be a leader of any kind. So we start the intergroup, and I get nominated to be the first intergroup chair, and I'm going, you're kidding me. Me? I volunteered to do something, and I thought I'd do something really simple, And they asked me if I would be the intergroup chair, and I said, oh, yeah, sure. Since when you're the first one, you don't have to try to fill anybody else's shoes. And so no matter what you do, there's going to be better, and there might be worse, But it's God's group. I had nothing to do with it. I sat in the chair, and I talked to people, but it was the higher power of our group that led it, And so I did service that way, and then I became our intergroup representative to go to Area 2, and I was blessed to go to Area 2, and I'm there for a year or so, and then I'm asked, well, Lorraine, do you think you might be interested in being the Area 2 chair? Well, again, ignorance is bliss, trust me, and I said yes. And the greatest thing about that is you get to meet people that you don't know exist, and they're from all over, and they have the same story I have. Instead of just having our small group of people, which I love our fellowship, we're out in Colorado, but then I got to meet people from 10 different states. Wonderful people. Half of them are in this room right now. And then I was able to be a delegate to go to World Service, and you learn so much about how our program got started on the business end. There is nothing better than being at the World Conference, talking about emotion or whatever you need. And sometimes it gets a little hot and heavy. People are very serious, especially if there's food involved. The best people to ever have an argument with is people in 12-step program. They are amazing, and you still do it with love. And if you have a problem, you stop and you say the serenity prayer, and everybody resets, and you start all over again. That is the best committee. I think almost everyone in here can say you've sat at meetings or you've been on committees and you think to yourself, my God, what am I doing here? I got to get out of here. You don't feel that when you're with people in program. It is a fellowship. Even though it might be a business meeting, it is still a really strong fellowship. And then you go from your individual meetings to your area meetings where there's anywhere from 3 to 10 states. Then you go to World Service, and you see that we truly are global. And then the next best thing is they have the very same story that you have. They know where we're at. We have so much in common, and it's just the most incredible experience. I really encourage everyone to think very seriously about giving service on any level. Have that courage. I've gotten to the point where I can help volunteer people now too. I'm not just the one that gets volunteered. I have learned how to volunteer people. There's other people in this room that I said, "You're going to help me do this, right?" And they go, "Yeah." When I did it in July, I approached a person that I had never met before. And I said, "I need someone to be in this skit with me. Here's all you have to do. Would you do it?" And, this might have even been her first meeting, much less her first convention. She wasn't there as a delegate. And she said, "Yes, my sponsor said I have to say yes more often." We've all heard that one. And she did. She gave a leap of faith. She didn't know who in the world I was. She didn't know what she was doing. She was brand new, kind of, even in that experience. And that's what I'm asking you to do today. No matter what someone says in program to you, say yes. You will only be blessed.
Yes.
You will only be blessed. See? There you go. You'll only be blessed. I have a million friends. I haven't seen half of their faces. But I can go anywhere to a meeting. They know my story. I know their story, and we can share it. And to me, that's the most beautiful thing on the planet. And I know that because I have said yes, in the very beginning, in November, when I was stuck in the snowstorm, I surrendered to God because I had to. It was okay, When everything happened in the last 19 years of my life here with my husband and my son-in-law, I surrendered to God because it was the right thing to do, and I knew I needed it. Today, I cannot surrender to my higher power fast enough because I know that no matter how painful or how difficult it's going to be, my higher power's got my back, and I'm going to grow from it, I'm going to learn from it, and the friends and the people that I have around me, it's going to be such a rich experience that I know I'm going to get through it, and I am not afraid anymore. I have no fear. I have fellowship, and I have my higher power. That's all I need. That's all I need. And I know that. And so I would like all of us to please share the 7-step prayer, because I feel that prayer is one that I don't think of often enough. I do the 3rd step prayer every day, and I remember to do the 7th-step prayer sometimes. But now that I have been doing my research for the 7th step and then going into the 8th step where it says now we need more action, I'm thinking that's what the 7th-step prayer is all about, And so I'm thinking to myself, that's when we end this presentation tonight, I would like us to do the 7th-step prayer. But I just want to encourage people to say yes, to learn that surrender is not the scary thing, and it's not the last resort. For me, it's never the last resort anymore. It's the first place I need to go, because I know that's where my sanity is. I don't worry about my food anymore. My daughter says I do when we travel. The first day when I travel with my daughter, that first day, I am obsessed with my food. I need to make sure where the stores are. I need to make sure what I got to do. And she supports me, and she understands it 90% of the time. But because she doesn't have our disease, she doesn't realize that I'm not really obsessed with the food. I'm obsessed with taking care of business. Once I've got that going for me, I'm fine. And it's just that first day, We've traveled in Ireland and Scotland, Wales, and England, and London a couple of times. When we did it the first time several years ago, London was hard. They didn't like vegetables. And then when they did, oh my God, they were terrible. And the only kind of fish they liked had to be, deep fat fried and all kinds of stuff. But now that I'm more comfortable with traveling outside of our little United States, there's a lot more to go. Now I know where to go to the fresh air markets, where they have the fresh foods. And my daughter, she's not really even a vegetarian. I call her a cheesetarian because she'll eat anything as long as it's cheese. She'll eat this much vegetables and this much fruit and this much cheese. So she doesn't get it because, we can go into a bar and she can get whatever their appetizers are and she's happy. That's her food, When we went to Ireland, I got to tell you, we visited every pub in town because of the live music, and she wanted to try all of the different Irish beers. And I never drank so much tea in my life. And there was one that was in our hotel, and I remember walking in a couple of times, and the bartender would get out the little teacup and the teapot, because they still brew the real stuff over there. They don't use tea bags. And so he brewed my pot of tea for me, and it got to be that kind of a thing. So, you can take a program anywhere. You can take program in the blizzard in the middle of Goodland, Kansas. You can take it during times of pain and agony, and you can take it all over the world. I have a dear friend in program who stayed abstinent for 30 days in India. And she does this a lot. Wasn't even a one-time thing. It can be done. We can do this because our higher power knows what we need. And we just have to make sure that we go prepared, So that's where I'm at today, and that's what I have to share. I would like to end with a 7-step prayer, and then I think we have some time for sharing if anyone would like to share. So let's do the 7-step prayer. And I have to cheat. I'm nervous enough that I won't remember the words. So, my Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen.